Peace, peace. So yeah, back at it with another one. It is 8:30 tonight, July 1st, 2023. So let me go ahead and get this video on and popping because it's about to get close to my bedtime. I'm an old man. Uh so look, this video today, we just gonna get straight into it. You know what I'm saying? For people who are interested in working with me, I'm gonna drop a link in the description so you could contact me via my website link. I do emotional healing services, energy healing services, consultation, emotional healing consultations. Um, and stay tuned because I'm also adding other treats to the bag. You feel me? Uh, so now I got the commercials out the way. Please subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel. I know there's a little ring a ding bell somewhere down there below. I would really appreciate it as I continue to try to grow this YouTube channel. Follow me on the gram though. I'm definitely providing a lot of gems on the ground. All right. So without further ado, the name of this video is going to be called Your Partner Cannot Make You Happy. Oh my God. I just said that your partner can't make you happy. Oh, that means turn up the volume on your cell phone because I'm about to provide some value on why I say that. Put some clarity behind that, right? So, a lot of the topics for tonight is going to be self happiness and overgiving, reciprocation, right? Two hearts to romance and love, and just in general that your partner can't do everything that you expect for them to do. So without further dizzy do, hey, shout out to my dog, man. I ain't never meet him. Be cool, man. What is Astro Finesse? If y'all into astrology, go check him out, yo. He nice with it. He be busting that joint. Without further dizzy do, you know what I'm saying? So let's roll with it, baby. Let's roll with it. All right. Without all the giggles, because I'm about to be jokester tonight. Uh so yeah, your partner can't make you happy, right? I wanted to make this video because I've experienced something similar to this where I thought that my partner was supposed to make me happy, right? I think that in society, we've been probed to believe that when we get in relationships, our partner's supposed to satisfy us in every degree, in every form of fashion. And sometimes it works like that and sometimes it don't. But for what I've been observing and experiencing, eventually it's going to come to a place where they can't satisfy your every need because you are constantly growing and evolving. And if they're not growing and if they're not evolving, how do you expect for them to satisfy your needs? Right? Unless they're into a space where they're growing and they're evolving and they want to know how they can continue. Keyword, they want to know how. They have to take initiative and ask, how can I continuously support you? How can I continuously provide your needs? And if they're not in that space or self-aware enough to see how they can provide that support system, then you're going to be feeling alone. You're going to be at the top of the totem pole, they at the bottom end of the totem pole, and you want them to come up because you need some of that satisfaction in that relationship, but they just don't have enough self-awareness, or they don't have the motor running inside of them to reach you to the top. Let's just call that the introduction to this video. So let's just start off with the first part of this video, which is self-happiness, right? And so what is self-happiness, right? Self-happiness is self-satisfaction for oneself. You know, you having this, knowing yourself, knowing the things that make you happy first and foremost. And if someone else comes into that picture, you can, share with them the things that make you happy, or they can potentially share the things that they think that could potentially make you happy. But ultimately, y'all want to come together and try to amplify the happiness in the relationship, right? And so when I realize in relationships, and like I said, I'm included in this too here, so I'm not going to leave myself out. What I realize is that, sometimes in these relationships can create an illusions in terms of we thinking that our partner is supposed to provide this type of happiness 24/7, 365. It just doesn't work like that. The reason why it doesn't work like that is because if your partner doesn't have joy residing inside of them, how are they going to give you joy? If they don't have happiness that they cultivated for themselves, how are they going to give you happiness? If they haven't cultivated bliss, harmony, peace within inside themselves, how are they going to give you that? Right? And so when we talk about having a very happy and fulfilling relationship, that's a two-way street. That's a 50-50 scenario. I cannot give you $1 if I don't have $1. I cannot pour any water in your cup if I don't have water in my cup. I cannot give you joy if joy is not inside of me. It's just impossible. If I'm a very intellectual person, guess what? I'm going to provide intellect to you, and that's going to make you more intellectual. So you'll notice this relationship dynamic that's played out back and forth, back and forth. It's an energy exchange, back and forth, back and forward. It's an energy stream going back and forth, back and forth. But sometimes the energy stream has a blockage. That blockage is, uh-oh, I passed my limit. I have nothing else to offer here. All I have is sex and a little bit of mental stimulation and perhaps, a couple of cuddles at night and whatever else. I can't provide no more than what you're looking for because I haven't raised up those particular vibrations that you particularly are looking for inside of myself. Therefore, I can't give you what you're looking for. So if we are dependent on our partner to give us these particular emotions that we think they should be giving us, then we're setting ourselves up, or we have set ourselves up for failure. Society has painted a pretty picture. They then got a nice canvas and it was a blank slate, and they got a nice paintbrush, and he painted this image that when you get into a relationship, your partner's supposed to make you happy. It's like it's damn near tattooed in our minds that our partner's supposed to make us happy. But that's where the illusion comes in that. Because when your partner stops making you happy, this is, for one, your time to exit the relationship, which most people don't do because we hope that they're going to change, right? Or two, we could come to the realization that, okay, this is where I need to become more independent and provide that happiness for myself. And say you still want to stay in a relationship, which is cool, but you become more self-responsible. You become more self-responsible for your emotional state at this point. You already should have it prior to the relationship. But if you're in a relationship and you're noticing that your partner is starting to become a little bit more distant or stagnant in their emotional development, this is where either you address it, which I highly advise you address it, and this is where you start to realize, like, you know what, they can't meet me where I need them to meet me, but I don't want to leave them alone because they're still a great person. I'm gonna start to build up my own self happiness and my own self joy and bliss, and perhaps you can share that energy with them, and of course that could potentially help them, right? Or you could just keep it to yourself, which that may come off as very like you're in a relationship by yourself, so of course you're going to want to share that energy with your partner. But eventually you're going to see that y'all are just not compatible emotionally anymore, right? And so when I say that, you know uh, self happiness is a personal responsibility. Both people are coming together, whatever emotional development that they had throughout their experiences. One partner might have developed a lot of joy. Another partner may have developed a lot of happiness. Y'all come together, mix all that up, right? You cooking, some season on it, and y'all are experiencing this emotional experience together as a couple. Eventually, because nothing remains the same, everything is subject to change. If you want more out of your emotional development, you're going to start to develop more of yourself to get into that place. If your partner is just like, yo, this is all I got is joy, don't be mad when that's all that they have to offer. That's when you realize, okay, they passed their limit and they're not willing to work on themselves. Let me go ahead and shift and pay attention to what I need to do to still keep my cup full, because you don't want to continuously be caught up in illusion thinking that they're supposed to do what society or what your parents or what you learned on TV screens and dating shows supposed to do, which is provide so much emotional support in terms of happiness, joy, and bliss. Your happiness is your happiness. You have the choice to share your happiness with who you choose to share with, but it's yours. It's yours first. Then it goes outward. It's not outward, then inward. It's inward, then outward. Right? And so I realized that in a lot of relationships, we put a lot of pressure on our partners and we want our partners to do everything under the umbrella, do everything under the sun. And they just can't. They don't have the capacity. They don't have it. And so we expect a lot out of our partners when they just don't have it. Now, I'm going to just flip it and say they do have it if they're willing to work on it. But a lot of people are not willing to work on that, especially in a male's perspective. There's not a lot of men who can tap into more of the yin energy to where they can start to provide more of that emotional support within themselves, because they're like, yo, babe, this is all I got. Because a lot of times, right, the proverb or the quote that we love to use is, my woman is my peace. My woman brings me peace. But shit, the woman wants peace too. She wants you to provide peace in her life too. Don't put all the peace on a woman, but yeah, you got to do this for me. You got to do that for me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Where your peace at? Can you offer her peace too? You feel me? So, uh, let's move forward. Because I would like to watch a movie tonight before I go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So let me move forward. I hope I hit that hard for you guys. So let's move forward. So self-happiness is your personal responsibility, even in a relationship or outside of a relationship. So and let me just a little bit more. It's so important that before you get in a relationship, you find out what makes you happy right now. For example, I love to read books. People be amazed when I say that I love to read books and I would stay at home and read books all goddamn day. I would do that all day. So if I'm in a relationship, guess what? I'm gonna continuously still read books. The train don't stop. I'm gonna continuously still read books because that makes me happy. That makes me happy. When I get in a relationship with the other person, yes, I'm making an emotional investment into this person. I do, to some degree, expect for them to also amplify the happiness that I already cultivated for myself. If they don't have that, then guess what? I'm not going to make the investment. You might say, well, Josh, it's early in the game, the honeymoon phase, everything looks good. They're providing a lot of happiness and joy. So how can you really tell? That's a great question. How can you really tell? It doesn't even matter if you're seeing all these great results from this person early on in the game, the honeymoon phase. If you have cultivated so much self-happiness for yourself, if the honeymoon phase stops existing, which it does, you still keep happiness and joy in your heart because you cultivated it for yourself. You're not relying on them like that. That's where most of the times where people be like, oh, it was this and now it's this. Now, obviously, I'm keeping it in the context that I'm keeping it in, because you could shift this whole conversation in so many ways, but I'm gonna keep it where I have it. And so, boom, we harped on that good enough. You feel me? We harped on that good enough. Let's continue. Next, I want to talk about overgiving and reciprocation, right? So, in some relationship books, they talk about how most relationship the ratio of relationships is 100% to zero, meaning that you give 100% of your effort, not looking for nothing in return. I subscribed to that idea for a while. Then I shifted it to it is really a 50-50 ratio, percentage ratio. And the reason why I see it like that is because a lot of times if you put yourself in a position where you are the one who's constantly giving, you're over giving and then there's no reciprocation, then when that person decides to leave you, not only have given all your effort and your will and your energy, but they took a piece of you. They took a piece of your identity because they never reverberated or they never reciprocated that love or whatever that you was giving to them in return. So you start to lose yourself the more that you give and you give and you give and you never get anything in return. And I would say this too is that, you know, sometimes when we overshare because there's something that's deeply, excuse me, it's something that's deeply embedded inside of us that it has some type of insecurity attached to it, some belief that's attached to it, some that we think we have to do based off of whatever the belief is or whatever the insecurity is that's making us want to do what we do. Like, there's a reason why you overshare. You don't do it just to do it. It's because it's probably insecurity. You're probably thinking, well, in order to keep my man or my women, I need to do this because I gotta show up for them and show them that I love it. I'm gonna pour into them, and you don't gotta do that. You don't have to do that. The partner already gonna know. They're gonna acknowledge that you're putting forth the effort, and they're gonna appreciate that effort, and then they're gonna also give back too. Like the man or the woman. Let's speak on the man because I feel like a lot of women are more in that space more than men. A man will eventually get to the point if he's mature enough. Let me just throw that out there because most men are not mature enough. If he's mature enough, he's going to realize that you're putting forth the effort and he's going to want to put forth the effort back without you have to overcompensate. You don't have to overcompensate. You don't have to overcompensate. You do not have to overcompensate to keep a partner. If you're doing that because you think that's what you have to do to keep a partner, but you don't. If you're doing that, it's because you may feel that you have to do that because of whatever the energy that they're projecting onto you makes you feel like if you don't do that, you may potentially lose this person. But I encourage you to not do that and to lose this person because that person is not the person for you. I want you to let that sink in. I know a lot of women that I've talked to who struggle with the overgiving concept, the just pouring so much into the person. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. I'm telling you right now, do not do that. It's a bad habit. I'd rather you do that to your child before you do that to your partner. Now, I would say this. I'll flip it because I like flipping shit. I would say if you do choose to do that, make sure on the other end they're doing the same thing. If they're giving 60%, you give 60%. If they're giving 70%, you know, you do 70%. My mind is going so many places in terms of this conversation. Because then I could flip it. I could flip it again. And I could say that, you know, if you're a person who just loves to give just for the sake of giving, that's cool. That's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We're talking about reciprocation though. You give 7 days out the week. When the eighth day come, let's say you just tired and you're not feeling too well. If your partner is not a person who gives like that, then guess what? He's not going to support you when you're down. He's not going to support you when you need it because he's so used to you giving. So that's why you got to always have that discernment, have that balance, and know how much you need to give to a partner. And I'm not saying in a conditional way. I'm really not trying to say it like that. What I'm saying is that the way I see relationship dynamics that's played out today, it should definitely be a 50-50 thing. It shouldn't be no 75, 25, 40, 60. Some days you probably feel more better in an emotional state than your partner, so therefore you give more because you feel them good, whatever the case, but not on a long-term basis. You know what I'm saying? So, I went through that in one of my past relationships where I was giving so much to my partner and I was doing every goddamn thing. And I'll tell you my reason for why I was doing it, because I generally loved her, where I felt like none of that bothered me. I'm like, oh no, like I'm gonna give you the world. Like, what you need? What you need your feet rubbed? Say less. What you talking about? What you look at my hair move. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, say less. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I learned from it. I'm gonna say that I learned from it. I suffered a major traumatic experience behind it, and so I learned my lesson. Oh, it was a beautiful lesson. Um, and so yeah, so overgiving is 100% of your effort and 0% on a end. That's not reciprocation. That's you overcompensating for whatever reason, right? So let's move forward. The concept two hearts to romance and love. What do I mean by that? Two hearts, like two different hearts to romance and love. Understand that your heart chakra, right? It's a yin and a yang principle. I know that a lot of people in relationships just love to give, not looking for nothing in return. But when I talk about two hearts to romance and love, the love that you're giving to your partner in a romantic sense needs to be a 50-50. Just because you're a person who has a big heart and you love to give, don't have that particular type of heart in a romance setting, because you want to have a reciprocated relationship. If you have a heart that's that big to where you give so much, that means that particular part of yourself needs to be shared to the masses. It needs to be shared to humanity. It's kind of like Jesus. It's like the Jesus symbol. Like, if you want to give so much because you're a very giving person, put that energy out to the world, not to your partner. And the reason why I'm saying that, because everybody needs reciprocation. We talking about the law of Mayat. We talking about Libra. Libra rules relationships. Libra is a scale. That's why I'm harping on 50% of this. Because if Libra rules relationships and it's a scale, that means you need to have balance. 100% to 0 is not balanced. That's literally like the scale like this. You want that joint like this. Sometimes it might do this, sometimes it might do this, but for the most part, you want it right here. Now, we could flip that, right? If you are doing it like this, where it's 100% to 0 effort, then that's the Jesus heart, where Jesus is going to put all this energy out there. You're going to give all this energy to the people outside of you, not respecting anything in return. Well, we all know what you put out, you get back. So you're going to get it in return, right? But in a relationship, if you put in 100% with 0 effort or with 0 in return, good luck. See if that person is going to give you that in return. I never seen it. But who am I? My name is Joshua Tree. Who am I? I don't know. I've never seen it. So the two hearts to romantic and love, or however I said it, two hearts to romance and love. If you have a big heart, a giving heart, give that heart to the masses. In your relationship, give 50% of that. Give 50% of that. And also, I want to talk about needs versus needs. Be very mindful that everybody that you get in a relationship with, I don't care what kind of relationship it is, co-workers, friendships, families, romance, lovers, whatever you call it, everyone got needs. And this is one of my lessons that I've learned, is that as much as I can be very detached from my human nature, and in relationships, I know that this is a human experience. And so, as a human has basic needs. And so, for instance, like the five love language, right? Languages. everyone has their five love languages. Might be quality time, might be gifts, might be affirmations, etc., etc. Whatever your need or needs is, express it to your partner so they can provide those needs. Sometimes we feel like we're asking for too much if we tell our partner, yo, I got these needs. It may feel like we're nagging or we're just being difficult. Sometimes people are being very difficult. I'm gonna throw that out there. But for the most part, you want to see if your partner can meet these needs, right? You don't want to get in a relationship and the partner can't do nothing that you're looking for. Like that don't make no sense. This relationships are like investments. You want a return on your investment. So make sure that you make the wise decision. You have the discernment of like, nah, this person can definitely provide what I need. And if they can't, then that's when you just take a shift. Ain't no love lost in it. You just take a shift. So needs are very important. Your partner's going to tell you what their needs are, and then the person on the opposite end, you be real with yourself and really feel or see if you can provide those needs. If you can't, leave the girl alone. Speaking from a male's perspective, because I notice a lot of men don't know how to detach. They like to just do weird shit and want to cling on to the woman. Leave her alone if you cannot give her what she needs. You know how many fish they have in the ocean? You know the statistics in terms of the men and women ratio? It's like 4-1 or something like that. I don't really know. But from my understanding, there's so many women in the world and there's less men, which I don't believe that. It's just a lot of men are incarcerated and a lot of them then turn the other way. But besides that, there's so many women out here. Don't just cling to one woman. Stop doing that. That is, ugh. What the fuck, bro? Stop doing that. I digress. And I'm about to wrap this up because I think I pretty much said everything I need to say. Yeah, so your needs are very important, and so definitely always make sure you put that on blast. Make sure your needs are being fulfilled because you want to have a fulfilled, happy, loving, fucking relationship. Everybody wants it. Everybody deserves it, and so don't downplay yourself. Always look for the upgrade in a relationship if you can have one, and if you can't have it with that partner, you know, do something. Switch your swag up. I don't know. Do something. Do something to where do something. You know what I'm saying? I'm to that point. Do something. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much it. So in a nutshell, your partner can't make you happy. Let's just throw that out there. You are responsible for your own happiness. And I'm gonna use this analogy when I say that your partner can't make you happy. You notice how when a dog, if you just come home from work and your dog's been laying around all day on the floor, and then open the door, the dog comes running to you and they're happy and they're excited, and you having a bad day. And so you don't really give into the dog's energy. You went go sit down somewhere. And you just like, I don't feel like being bothered. The dog is continuously wagging its tail, is continuously want to lick you, is continuously trying to get your attention because it's excited to see you. That's kind of like how you want to have your relationships. You want to be so filled up with and joy and happiness and all these good things that you know if your partner's having a shitty day, that don't bother you. You're the dog that's going to continue to wag its tail. That's why it's so important that you have personal happiness and self happiness for yourself. Because if your partner is doing, you know, off that day, it doesn't influence you because your cup is still full. And whenever they need you to come support them, like a dog would, a dog runs up to the owner and he licks him and does all these other things, and then the person shifts. So dogs are great emotional creatures that can help you with your emotions. And you can also learn so much from dogs because dogs don't really have a turn off switch. unless they start to get like real sick or something like that. But for the most part, they always excited. They just so playful, and so that's their innate nature. They don't try to be like that. They're naturally like that. You want to get to the point where you're naturally like that. Let's just say us, because I'm going through it too to a degree. You want to, you know what I'm saying? You want to develop that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Keeping that spirit of this constantly being happy and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So let me get off here because I need to eat and it's getting late and I feel like I'm getting droopy. So I'm gonna end off on that note. Please drop a comment in the description if you feel like this resonated. If you want to share anything on your behalf or anything that happened in your journey, I would love to hear it. We can discuss it. Let's get it popping in the chat. And yeah, thank you guys for watching and stay tuned for another one. Peace.